Hello, I'm glad to be here for the Icwmm conference again this year, both as to listen to the participants as well as to give this presentation. This is a companion piece to what Dr. Ben Hodges presented earlier on the SWIM 5+ development through the Center for Infrastructure Modeling and Management. That is a grant through the EPA, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But now I'm going to talk about establishing an independent nonprofit CIM and what's been involved in that and where we are. What is CIM? And it was formerly known as NCIM, the National Center for Infrastructure Modeling and Management. That derived from a competitive US EPA research grant, went to the University of Texas at Austin. The principal investigator is Dr. Ben Hodges, who you heard earlier. The original co-PI was Charles Rowney, representing the Urban Watersheds Research Institute out of Denver. As many of you know, unfortunately, Charles passed away in 2019. And since that time, I've been the co-PI representing UWRI for the grant purposes. The funded research is crowdsourced models for sustainable water infrastructure. We got 2 no-cost extensions granted to the grant for 2 years to August 2023 due to COVID and other reasons. The current relationships during the grant is that the EPA established the research grant. It went to the University of Texas representing a consortium that was called initially the National Center for Infrastructure Modeling and Management, and we've subsequently shortened that to just CIM. The major partner with the University of Texas was the Urban Watersheds Research Institute out of Denver, Colorado, which is a nonprofit organization. And then there were several others, such as Texas Tech, BYU, NC State, and some other universities. The center, as it was set up under the grant, interacted with end users and researchers and developers, established a scientific advisory committee, and under that committee, we established a technical advisory committee of folks who are more attuned to software-related issues. The Scientific Advisory Committee is a group of people that I know you'll recognize many of the names as being people who have been prominent in the infrastructure modeling and assessment business. Ted Burgess, just retired from CDM Smith, is our chair. Rob James from CHI is another member. Rob Traver from Villanova. David Fortune, who is out of the UK, is a member. Tina Peterson, who heads up the Harris County Flood Control District, and finally Sally Gutierrez, who's the director of NERML at US EPA, is a non-voting member. So we've got a stellar group advising us. And then on the technical advisory side, again, you'll recognize many of these names, particularly in the SWIM community, as people who have been intimately involved with advancing SWIM through the years. Robert Dickinson from Innovy's Autodesk, Jacobs, Limnitech, Nandana from CHI, Mitchell Heineman from CDM, and then the project manager for EPA, Ben Packard, is a non-voting member. So that's worked really well for us and has guided Ben well on his SWIM 5+ activities. One of the goals stated in the grant proposal, which was adopted as a part of the grant activities, was that the grantee, us, would establish a sustainable vehicle for post-grant activities. We've done that back in 2021, late 2021. CIM Incorporated was established as a Texas nonprofit corporation and then approved as a 501c3 charitable nonprofit by the IRS in January of 22. And as a part of all of that, we've established a domain name, website, all those assorted things outside of the EPA grant through subsequent donations that we've received. The mission of the nonprofit CIM, as compared to the grant CIM, is not largely different, except that now as a nonprofit, we are able to look at a variety of projects and look for collaborative opportunities going forward. But our mission is focus on research and development, on technology transfer, and facilitate with infrastructure managers, designers, researchers, and many of the folks who are here at this conference, to advance infrastructure management tools for the betterment of all. And then we also are positioned to accomplish the stated US EPA goal of providing a sustainable center for the advancement and caretaking of both Icwmm and EPA net. I think it's important when you look at any organization, particularly new ones, to look at their core values and let those be guiding, guideposts as to how they're going to act as an organization going forward. We have a commitment to absolute business and scientific integrity, and we are not going to compete with existing capabilities in the infrastructure industry, such as those that could be provided from consultants or software vendors, et cetera. We're solely focused in the R&D side of the equation. We are committed to excellence, to providing the highest quality output, including effective quality control and assurance. And CIMM's work will be driven by the community without the need to generate profit for shareholders. Our goal, again, is to be community driven, and as such, we want to be a low overhead organization guided by members of the infrastructure community. We don't want to build up a large overhead organization that has to, quote unquote, be fed. We are open to all. We're interested in all parties involved in infrastructure management globally to come together, be it universities, be it consultants, be it software developers, be it agencies, to talk about things where working together, a problem can be solved better than working alone. And CIMM has a great vehicle for doing that. Then finally, we're committed to sharing knowledge, disseminating our results through technology transfer and training, and working with other professional societies and organizations to disseminate that information. So post-grant relationships via the grant relationships is that now we have a board of directors that is guiding CIMM Incorporated as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are maintaining the relationship with the Urban Watersheds Research Institute as a preferred provider for training and technology transfer, because they do that very well, whether it be in-class instruction or be it online. The obvious change is going to be from money coming from an EPA grant, is that now outside funding and donations will be required to continue to move projects along. And I know somebody will want to ask the question, so I'll answer it preemptively. Is EPA committed to funding the post-grant CIMM Incorporated? And that is to be determined, and that is all that's going to be said on that. On the research and development side, much is going to stay the same. Dr. Ben Hodges will be the director of research. End users, researchers, and developers will come together and caucus on projects that would be beneficial. Advice received from the Scientific Advisory Committee and the Technical Advisory Committee that will carry through from the grant we see as beneficial. And if a project is useful and viable, then CIMM will organize the resources, be it universities, consultants, et cetera, to do that particular project. And it may involve the University of Texas. It may not. It may involve other universities, but Dr. Ben Hodges will remain our director of research. That is a very brief overview on the establishment of a nonprofit center. I'd like for the audience to think about how such a center could be beneficial, not only for Icwmm and EPA net, but in terms of common problems faced in infrastructure modeling and management, and how we might be able to be of service. With that, I'm done.